Hi, my name is Victor Floyd, and my two minors are criminal justice and sport coaching. I chose these two disciplines because I know I'd be able to find a career, that would fit me and that I'll be satisfied with financially. I think in doing research on both these two disciplines, I found a field that is definitely a fit for me, and that's in a sports agency. I would love to be a sports agent based on the research I found out, what they do and what they're all about. And doing that research, it led me to my research question is, what do agents look for in their clients, and what do they expect from their clients? And I think in doing this research, I found a number of answers and a number of information, a lot of things that have helped me, become a very successful sports agent. My first interview was with Chris Johnson, running back for the Tennessee Titans, and we talked a little bit about what his transition was, coming from college and going to the NFL, and what he was looking for in a sports agent, because that helped me answer my question. And he mentioned that as a player, he was looking for someone that was real good relationship wise and had a big name, and had some type of background in the law field, which fit right in for me because, like I mentioned, I have a minor in criminal justice as well. So I think that that'll be a plus moving into the sports agency. The reason why it's so big is because he mentioned that sports agents have to be able to negotiate contracts in this business. Negotiating the best contract for a player will definitely get your name out there. And he mentioned that before he met his sports agent, he knew of him, and the main reason he knew of him was because of the type of contracts he had already negotiated. I think this was a big help for me because I now know I can read what a client's thinking a little bit when it comes to what they're expecting you to bring to the table. And even if I haven't already had players prior to meeting this big time client that I want, I can fulfill him out by giving him a little bit of what I know he'd like already, and that would be explaining to him what kind of contracts that I could negotiate for him, and trying to establish a firm relationship with this client, because that was another thing he mentioned that he looked for in his sports agents. Someone that was going to be able to not only bring a lot of things to the table from a business perspective, but someone who could outside the business office, someone who he could establish a firm relationship with, someone that he could really get along with, and someone he knew would be able to meet him halfway on a lot of things. And I think that was interesting to me as well, because I thought the majority of clients were only dealing with their agent on a business level, until I found out that that's not true. When I talked to him, he talked to me a lot about how his agents, they sometimes they're caught outside of the business room a lot, talking about other games, other teams, other players, family, friends, and that was interesting to me, because I've known other sports agencies that I've always wondered why they weren't successful. They had all the credentials, the background in law, and the big time law degree, and those things, but they didn't have the personal needs that a player was looking for, the personal relationship that players were looking for, which was discussed a little bit in my interview with Buzz Cook. Buzz Cook talked to me about what made him so successful. He talked to me about how he knew that majority of his clients did want to know a little bit about his background, but a lot of his clients want to know that he's not going to be someone that's going to try to rip them off and take their money. He discussed it with him that the big time contracts he already had, of course, really helped him in the process. Really helps him in the process of signing new clients. But he discussed with him that what type of numbers he's looking for up front. He doesn't give him this beat around the bush and try to find ways to get into their pocket. He mainly comes up front and discusses what type of numbers they'll make, and what type of numbers he'll make, and he leaves it at that. And he said, I think he thinks a lot of his clients, respect that, and that's the reason why they sign with him. And that was real helpful for me, because I thought that it was all, of course, with it being a business world, you think that a lot of agents are just selling a lot of these players' dreams, but hearing it from an agent like that, he said in this business he's able to just be upfront, with players and discuss, what he needs from them and what they'll need from him. And I'm definitely gonna take that on into my career. A number of information that I found out just from doing research is that a lot of agents look into their player's background, try to find out what type of player they're dealing with, because no agent wants to sign a player, that's not going to fulfill his contract, that's going to, that has his background already of being a criminal, or, someone that doesn't come to practice and doesn't, do his work in class. All those things reflect what type of player this person is. And after doing some research, I found out that a lot of agents, take that very seriously. And that was very big for me, because I thought all the thing that mattered was what type of player they were on the field. I never knew that it would make that kind of impact on an agent, or that kind of effect on an agent when a player did wrong off the field. And I can definitely say that was very helpful for me, because I know now, what type of clients that will be able to fit me, what type of clients I'll be able to deal with. And overall, I think my research went very well. I think I'll be a very successful agent here in these next couple of years, and I'm going to continue to do research more and try to find out more about sports agency as I can. And thank you.